Good afternoon. Buenas tardes, mi gente. My name is Yesenia López, and I am the director of the New Jersey Hispanic Research and Information Center, the big label on the back. Mi nombre es Yesenia López y soy la directora del Centro de Investigación y Formación Hispana de Nueva Jersey at the Newark Public Library, en la Biblioteca Pública de Newark. I'd like to welcome everybody and thanks for joining me for another tour of NPL at Home series. Today's tour is going to be on the Amilkar Vélez López papers. It's going to be a virtual tour. And it's going to be a virtual tour of the digitized portion of the Amilkar Vélez López papers. We're going to be exploring the npl.org website, our archive host site, and our digital.npl.org site. We'll also get to explore the sort of different types of materials found within Judge Amilkar Vélez López papers. And viewers can suggest a search term or a name if they like. Now, I am going to attempt to share my screen. And if you just give me a few minutes, I want to make sure we open up to the correct page so that we can see. Actually, we're going to be starting out with, let's see, the Newark Public Library website. And that is at www.npl.org. Let me share my screen with everyone. Share screen. Let's share some sound just in case. And here we have it. As I said, we're at npl.org. And actually, right before I start my tour, I kind of forgot to mention, and I always like to make sure to mention each of my programs, the importance of completing our census, right? So like now more than ever, we should all respond to the census. We can do it online, we can do it by phone, by mail, and responses are kept confidential. It's easy to respond in 12 non-English languages. And the census count directs federal funding for the next 10 years to our community. So make sure if you haven't already to complete your census at www.2020census.gov. I've completed it for myself. It takes less than 10 minutes and I've had 3 people to report for. I soon have to complete my father's. I realized he didn't do his, and I'm sure with one person in the household, it'll take me probably 8 minutes tops, to complete this. So please take the time out to do it, but not until after our virtual tour, of course. So as I said, we'd like for you all to visit npl.org. You will be brought, of course, to our main page here. And if you mouse over collections and services, click on collections and mouse down here to the NJHRIC, you will get this nice big yellow banner just informing everybody that although our doors are closed to the public, at the moment we are still offering reference services. But if you sort of scroll down here, you'll see a bit about the NJHRIC and our different components of the HRIC. You'll see here La Sala Hispanoamericana, a blurb about a Hispanic reference collection, the Puerto Rican Community Archives, digital collection, and so on. For today's tour, we're going to click on Puerto Rican Community Archives, and this great little feature here you see is our live reference. So, you see that we are offering reference services round the clock here. We're going to close that out. I do not want to chat with you all yet, not today. And it keeps popping up. We'll just keep closing that. So here, as you can see, the requests or access to our materials are by appointment only. It's always been like that. And it continues to be by appointment only. We've been filling reference requests with any digital materials we have already. Hopefully in the near future, we will have time and resources to continue to digitize more of our collections and make those available for research. In the meantime, you can see here, you could browse NPL's archival collection descriptions, and that'll bring you to our archive space. If you click here, you'll see. All of Newark Public Library's special collections, there's 3 special collections departments, are located on archive space or have materials located on archive space. And here you could search our repositories, you could search collections, digital materials, unprocessed materials, subjects, and so on. I'd like to click on repositories. So there you'll see you have the Charles F. Cummings New Jersey Information Center for Newark and New Jersey related materials, the Puerto Rican Community Archives of the NJHRIC at the Newark Public Library, and that'll be a focus for today's tour, where we house collections on materials relating to the Latino population in New Jersey, and then we have the library's special collections. If you click on here, you see a number of collections. There's 46 collections digitized, 46 collections described so far. If you, what's in this repository, click on the 46 collections, you'll see that Amilkar Vélez López papers are the 2nd collection in the list, of course, because it's alphabetically. But here you'll see a summary of the collection. And for today's tour, I'll just read fairly quickly. An overview of Judge Amilkar Vélez López papers is judge, attorney, social worker, and community activist. The collection documents Amilkar Vélez López's personal life and career as a municipal court judge of Newark, New Jersey. Vélez López became a founding member of La Casa de Don Pedro, the New York Association of Puerto Rican Social Service Workers, and the Newark Borican Lions Club. He was also an active member of the Puerto Rican Educators Association. Vélez López was appointed as a municipal court judge by Mayor Sharp James in, and let's open that up to get a further description. Here you go. I just clicked that open and you'll see further description. He was appointed as municipal court judge by Mayor Sharp James in 2000 and was reappointed in 2006. Judge Vélez López retired in 2011 after 11 years as a judge, 21 years as attorney in practice, 31 years as a social worker, and a lifelong community organizer. The papers consist of his biographical and personal life, community service and organizations, flyers, law and politics, newspaper clippings and research, photographs, programs, Puerto Rico, and social, school and social work. Portions of this collection have been digitized, and that's what we'll be touring today. Once his finding aid is finalized, and for those of us who don't know what exactly a finding aid is, basically a table of contents to all of the boxes of materials that Don Amilkar Vélez López donated. Essentially, it's the same thing for all of our collections, right? The finding aid is a table of contents for the collections, so that when researchers want to find a particular item of interest, they only need to refer to the finding aid to find out what box exactly that material or that item is located in, and they could go directly to it. They do not necessarily have to filter through 11 cubic feet, 11 boxes of materials to find the particular item they're looking for. So this is our archive space description so far. I'm going to take us back now to the NJHRIC website, because I also like to bring your attention to what will be coming soon is Amilkar Vélez López's Activist Voices Oral History. But I'm going to bring you back to npl.org, mouse over Collections and Services, and if you come down to Collections NJHRIC, you can click on the Latino Oral History Collection. If you all were present a couple of weeks ago, You can still view it, actually. I gave a tour of the Latino Oral History collection, where I discussed and gave a tour of the Justice Project, Latino Life Stories, and here under Activist Voices, once funding and time becomes available, we will have the oral history interview of Amilkar Vélez López. This is an almost 3-hour interview where we expanded on a previous interview that he sat through with a former student. So in addition to our digital oral history we have on Amilkar Vélez López, and I'll share with you shortly, we will also have materials a little bit more updated, as this interview I think happened in I believe it happened in 2019 when Judge Amilkar Vélez López visited Newark, New Jersey, and he and I got to sit down for a few hours to perform his oral history. So once that is available, it will be added to this here Activist Voices, and you'll get to tour his collection, his oral history, I'm sorry, along with Dr. Olga Jimenez Wagenheim, our co-founder of the NJHRIC, and Professor Merida at Rutgers, Newark, and Dr. Hida Hidalgo. Here you have it, pioneer Puerto Rican community leader, activist, and educator, also from Rutgers University. I am getting a phone call from our Amilkar Vélez López right now. He's gonna have to go to voicemail, I'm sorry, so I can get through this collection. Hopefully I'll get to call him back when we get through a little further through his papers. So here is his oral history. It will live once it's completed. And now I am going to go to, let's close this out. Nope, let's not close it out. Let's just scroll right up here. And open, here we have it, digital.npl.org. So here you have Newark Public Library's digital repository. And as I mentioned, the library has 3 distinct special collection departments. You can browse all of them by collection or browse the collections. You could browse all of the newspapers, photographs, maps, oral histories, and so on, found within the 3 special collections by clicking on any of those links on the left. You could also, if you mouse over the Browse NPL Collections, you should see a Browse By option. It's not popping up, but usually it'll have a browse by subject, browse by a couple of other options. Here you go. If what I wanted to, there you go, browse by creator, subject, type, or collection title. And this will actually search all of the collections. For the purposes of today's program, we are going to browse or go directly to the NJHRIC. Here you have the Charles F. Cummings Information Center and Special Collections. And through funding from the Carnegie Foundation of New York, we were able to digitize materials reflective of the Latino migration to the city of Newark. And therefore, some of Amilkar Vélez López's papers were digitized as part of this collection. Here you see a list of HRIC collections digitized to date. As I mentioned, I already gave a tour of the Latino Oral History collection. You guys can check that out. Our colleague Huber has already performed NPL at Home series and a tour of the Hida Hidalgo button collection. You know, that's also a really visually interesting tour as well. If you click on Amilkar Vélez López papers, you have here another description, like I just read, on his collection, and a word about his oral history, actually. Where is it? Selected materials from this collection have been digitized. And for more information, you could visit the archival description, which is the archive space website I just came from. And an interview of Amilkar Vélez López is also available in the Latino Oral History Collection. If I have time, I will bring you there. And there's a second interview with Amilkar Vélez López on the theme of activist voices, which is currently being processed. And that's the one I mentioned recently as well. Here you're going to see a nice long list of materials in his collection that have been digitized. And I am going to share a couple of links of materials that I've already opened from his collection. But before I do that, I did see, let's see. I am trying to open my Zoom box so that I could see there were some comments in there, and I probably have to stop sharing. So let me stop sharing for just a second. I'll come back to continue. There we go. And there are just instructions for me. So I'll continue with my share screen and get back to the tour. As I mentioned, I already opened up some files. What you all will be able to tour is I've selected, I'm sorry, I didn't select. Let me recognize our colleague, Vanessa Castaldo, who actually created the tour that I am giving today. She was able to select materials from the collection. She has been processing the Amilkar Vélez López oral history interview for activist voices and is very familiar with Don Amilkar Vélez López and his papers through his oral history. And she's been gathering these materials. So I'm going to be sharing some of the papers found within his collection. Here you have, and I believe this is from, I have one document from each of his series, and you all don't know what those series are yet because the finding aid is not finalized, but you get to see the great materials anyway. Let's see, here we have, once you open an item, and I will go back to show you how I can search for these items, but I wanna share with you what happens, right? If I opened, I did a search for El Boricua, this would come up. El Boricua newsletter. Here you'll go through these little options at the top in a second, but if you scroll down, you'll see details. The title of this letter is El Boricua Newsletters. Here's El Boricua Volume 1, Number 1. I think that is extremely exciting to have the first issue ever of El Boricua. And when I open the pages, you'll get to see, learn a little bit more about where this newsletter came from. But here you have some identifying information about the document. If you scroll up, you have the document here, and you can view full text. You could look at the information I just showed you. Let's see how we close this out. You can share this book through social media if you like. It will share a link to this page, and then you can zoom in and out. I have what I consider old eyes, and so I am going to need to zoom in quite a bit so that I can see and share clearly. Volume 1, Number 1, March of 1970. There you have the document date. El Boricua Newsletter will open. Here you could search inside this book. I'm not sure what exactly we'll find, but I believe this is a Rutgers newsletter. So we're going to do a random search for Rutgers within this newsletter and see what happens. Okay, it's not coming up. I don't usually work with Microsoft Edge. Maybe that's it. In any case, it's okay. We still get to look through this beautiful newsletter from 1970. Here you have information on the cover again. Sorry, wrong one. We need to zoom in a bit. And in the essence of time, I cannot go through this all, but I did look through this newsletter as I was opening these links, and it's really amazing. I encourage everyone to kind of take a browse through the newsletter. Here, I'm just gonna read the cover. El Boricua was made by a new and rising young artist named Antonio Rivera. The cover is composed of the flag of Puerto Rico enclosed within its map. From the top of the map protrudes 3 fists, each representing one of the 3 races which forms the Puerto Rican. The 3 fists become one near the end, representing that all 3 races are really one, the Puerto Rican race. I'm gonna stop right there on that note and bring everyone's attention real quickly to our public program co-hosted with the Friends of the HRIC, scheduled for August 6th. It's on Latinx, race, and the census, and you don't want to miss it, you know, for those of us who identify as Puerto Rican being a race. So let me see, we're gonna zoom out a bit. Here you see an education, and I really love the fact that this opens up as a book, you know, just flipping the pages. You can see, you know, you feel like you're reading an actual book. You're there with the material right in front of you. We also have, this is the book view, we're on now, 2-page view, I'm sorry. We also have this single page view where you can actually scroll down to the next page. If you hit here, scroll through the next page, you see there, page 13 and so on. So those are sort of viewing options you have with the documents. This is what the newsletter looks like, you know, and just seeing this here self-defense page, I know makes you want to go in and read in full detail what we were sharing in 1970 El Boricua newsletter. Now moving on to the next item. I have a speech, the Puerto Ricans in Newark, Then, Now, and the Future by Amilkar Vélez López. I'm not sure when this speech was given, but let's see if we read a little bit. Oh, first line, there you have it. The purpose, let's zoom in a little bit because I am straining my eyes. Here we go. The purpose of my speech is to give a brief description of the Puerto Rican situation in Newark from 1950 to 1979. And I'm sure that there are some viewers right now and or later, whoever's gonna view this recording, who is going to want to learn more about this document. So I just had to make sure and share that to put it on your radar. If you want to learn more or hear more about it, of course, you get to make sure to either open the document and you can always email us for more questions. Next document I have here is a resolution commending Honorable Amilkar Vélez López. And I believe this was upon his retirement in 2011. Let's just confirm by zooming in so that I can see. Here you have Amilkar Vélez López, JD. Whereas the Honorable Amilkar Vélez López was born in the town of Adjuntas, Puerto Rico, and whereas the Honorable Amilkar Vélez López was an outstanding student during his public and grad school endeavors, and whereas the Honorable Amilkar Vélez López graduated cum laude in sociology in 1968 and received the Jesse Smith Noyes Foundation Honor Scholarship and was president of the graduating class. And whereas the Honorable Amilkar Vélez López attended Seton Hall Law School in 1975 and graduated in 1979, also with the cum laude, and received the Puerto Rican Legal Defense Fund grant along with the Eugenio María de Hostos Award for Academic Excellence. And whereas the Honorable Amilkar Vélez López, co-founder of Cura Incorporated, which is a social service agency and now boasts of having a budget of over $14 million and community investments totaling $15 million. And whereas the Honorable Amilkar Vélez López is the recipient of numerous academic and community awards that span a lifetime during his tenure, both on the bench and for the work that he has done in the community. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Municipal Council of the City of Newark, New Jersey, that it does hereby recognize and commend the Honorable Amilkar Vélez López on the auspicious occasion of celebrating his retirement as a public servant in the City of Newark and State of New Jersey, and wishes him well in all of his future endeavors. And his recognition and awards did not stop in 2011. The reason I was able to connect with him in, I believe it was 2019, and have this oral history is because he was visiting to receive another award, I believe, from Puertorriqueños, Ilustros Puertorriqueños. And so there you have, you know, a resolution commending Amilkar Vélez López. I'd also like, as I go on to the next document, just to remind everybody of the types of documents that I am pulling up. I am sure if we collect papers, we have similar documents in our collections. You know, as I travel throughout the state of New Jersey, informing people of what can be considered historical documents. You know, the first thing that most people tell me is that they don't have any historical documents, not realizing that what they have in their collection or, you know, on their desk, in their drawers, sitting in a box in the basement are actually historical. You know, these are the types of materials that you will find in our archive, and we hope to continue to collect, preserve, and make available for researchers. So here you have, I see a couple of comments coming in. Okay, these are links. You will see people, my guests, links to the collections as and the materials as I announced them. Thank you for that. That's my colleague behind the scenes between Hoover and Vanessa helping me out with this tour. Here we have an election flyer, right? Re-elija Senador Ronald Rice, Irvesen A. Coleman para asambleístas. Fonturo por sheriff and Amilkar Vélez López as miembro Comité Estatal Demócrata. Vote line A for tu partido, right? What's really great about this flyer is that a lot of times flyers don't have the date on them. We don't know where they're from, you know, so there's no reference. But as I read through sort of small print at the bottom, you will see, let's see if we pick that up. They created 1997. So they did pick up this small text down here, which is actually an invite. Let's go back one page. And if you sort of mouse around, you can see, there you have it. An invitation for June 1st of 1997 at El Flamboyant Manor, located on 147 Verona Avenue in Newark. And on the back side of this flyer is this here announcement. So it looks like maybe this was, could have even been a mail-in flyer. Let's see. No, but you have legislations that deserve our vote. Here you have a list of those. And some words from Senator Ronald Rice. Moving on to our next item, we have, let's see, the complaint against Rutgers University School of Social Work. Now, this item, here you have it, is March 6th of 1972. And what's really key, and I want to point out, is the sort of fading out that we have on the top of this here document. It looks like, and this may have been printed on maybe old facsimile paper, which is a sort of waxy paper that the ink tends to fade off of fairly easily. And why, again, I want to raise the importance of preserving these materials, you know, as they sit around in boxes and file drawers and so on, they will tend to fade over time. And it's really important really to just gather the information that's on the document, more so than just preserving the document, you know. So by digitizing, we're able to do exactly that. We're preserving the information in the document. And here you'll have, I won't go through it in detail, so as not to gossip about a complaint against Rutgers. Here we have it, dated 1972. So this is to the Commission on Accreditation, Council on Social Work Education, New York, New York. It's a complaint against Rutgers University School of Social Work. And it reads here, you know, gentlemen, the aforementioned group wishes to formally file a complaint under section 7C01 of the Manual of Accrediting Standards, CSWE, against the Graduate School of Social Work, Rutgers University. And basically they're stating that the section 1234 has been violated by said school by discriminating against Puerto Rican applicants and the Puerto Rican community in general. Said school has graduated only 5 Puerto Rican students in the last 15 years and only 2 students since 1969. 2 students since 1969, and this was written in 1972, so graduated 2 students in 4 years. As these NPL at Home series continue, maybe we'll give you a tour of the Masters of Public Administration and Social Work program for Hispanic students that Dr. Ida Hidalgo helped establish. In any case, here is sort of the grounds for establishing that department within Rutgers. You know, they're clearly not graduating, or they were clearly not graduating Puerto Rican students in the early 70s, at least not in numbers reflective of the community. Moving on to another paper, we have a study of the Puerto Rican community in Paterson. Those of us who know me, I shouted out Camden the last time I gave a virtual tour as my hometown, where I was born and raised for sure, but Paterson is my second hometown, where I basically moved to and lived throughout all of my college career. So it is my second hometown, and of course I always interested in learning more about Puerto Rican communities throughout the state, but of course especially the towns where I've frequented and am familiar with. Here you have, as I mentioned, a study of the Puerto Rican community in Paterson. This little bar here, I didn't mention before, but you have page 5, if you skip along, you know, page 11 of the document, it should be stressed that the ridiculous low figures of 318 Spanish-speaking students in high school is not to be explained in terms of a mobility problem, or that our kids have not reached high school age yet. The fact is plain, the Paterson school system has been failing for our children and failing them. Another interesting document, I believe I referenced this when I did my own research on the Puerto Rican riots in Paterson that occurred in 1968 as part of my background research on the Latino community in Paterson. Here you have charts and addendum. I'm just sort of scrolling through. Here's a graph of a map of the city of Paterson and the population of Puerto Rican origin by census tracts. This is, here you have it, Paterson in 1960. And estimated Puerto Rican population in 1970. So anyone interested in research of Puerto Rican communities in Paterson, here you have it. Again, this is available by clicking on a link. And here's one of my favorite items out of his collection, a picture of Amilkar Vélez López. For those of you who know Amilkar Vélez López, you know his mustache. And this is just a really great picture that captures that. It is a picture of him at the Puerto Rican parade in 2007. I also wanted to share that these are able to, the single page Links are able to be downloaded by clicking on the little scissor button I just clicked on. You can download the image or you can print it here. And here again are details about the image. Subject topics are something that we can search. If we click on these subject topics, of course, it'll bring us to all of these materials on that subject topic. So this was my quick and dirty tour of the digitized portion of Amilkar Vélez López papers. I'm going to open my chat once again before I end this to make sure that I did not somehow miss. I'm going to stop sharing. Any comments, any questions? I am open as I speak to do some searches. If we have any suggested searches. I have a comment, such a great photo, I agree. And I had hoped that Amilkar Vélez López would be able to join us for the tour this morning. Unfortunately, he was not able to, but I am quite sure he is he will be available to answer any questions you might have about the materials that I shared. Or any other questions you might have that are not readily available, let's say within our Latino oral history collection and or his papers. He is available on social media. Amilkar Vélez López is on Facebook and he's really responsive to Facebook as well. And I'm going to share, right before I finish, I'm just going to share right quickly. I forgot to tour his Latino oral history that is found within the collection. Now let's see if I could get to that easily. If you go back to the digital.npl.org, like I mentioned, you can go to, we're gonna go here to browse Npl Collections. Open up NJHRIC's collection. And here we're gonna go to the Latino oral history collection, just to show you where we can find his oral history, his past oral history. And just so happens that it is the first hit, of course, because it's in alphabetical order. And here you'll have, if you click on Amilkar Vélez López, interviewed by Linda Arroyo, you will have a complete transcript of this interview. So this one is readily available. It is just a bit older than the interview that we are still processing, the Activist Voices interview that was about a 3-hour interview between he and I, and from 2019. So here, I just want to show the transcription to his interview, his first interview within the collection, and that is November 19th and 23rd of 1987. So there you have it. It was held in his office at 208 Bloomfield Ave in Newark. And you can read through a bit of his life background. And like I said, in let's see what that was again, 1987. I believe it was before, if I remember correctly, I just read the timeline, he made municipal court judge, you know, so it's really interesting to see how he ended this interview and where he saw his life going, and then, you know, where it has gone since, you know, so we're really excited as well to wrap up his most recent oral history and be able to share that with you all. So if we do not have any questions, comments, search suggestions, I will end this program by thanking you all very much for joining me. And if you are not able to join me live right now, it's cool because we will have this uploaded to where you will see all of Newark Public Library past programs. You can check us out on Newark Public Library's YouTube page. Well, you will get a nice list of NPL at Home series, not just of the NJHRIC collections, but you will see others from our colleagues at the Special Collections Department and the Charles F. Cummings, New Jersey Information Center. They are being held every Monday at 1 o'clock, NPL at Home, virtual tours of our collections, just to give you all some ideas of how to and where to find information in our, virtually during our time that the doors are closed. I also wanted to make sure and mention, let's see if I could share real quickly. And I will end on this note. Let's see, where is this at? Here we go. NPL at Home. So on my Facebook page, this is today's program, but I am going to also share with you, bear with me. I want to make sure and share our upcoming program for August 6th in the evening. It is called ¿Quién eres? Who are you? Like I mentioned, this is a program being co-hosted by the Friends of the HRIC. And here you have it. ¿Quién eres? Who are you? We're going to have the distinguished guests, Dr. Nancy Lopez and Tanya Hernandez. We will also have moderated by Jason Cortez. So please join us this Thursday evening at 6 o'clock. We will have a Spanish translation available through Zoom, and it will be aired on Facebook Live. So that is about it for my tour. I'm gonna end it here on my Thursday at 6 program. And I want to make sure that everybody follows us on and follow the library, NPL, Newark Public Library, and the New Jersey Hispanic Research and Information Center on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Newark Public Library's YouTube page. Thank you, everyone. And I'm out.